One of the other core considerations with respect to implementing Azure-based solutions is how you're going to approach your data storage needs. Virtually every Azure type of scenario requires data storage of some description, and Azure gives you two primary models as to how you're going to be able to store and access that data. So the first one we'll have a look at is the SQL Database option. And as its name implies, this is a Microsoft SQL-based solution wherein you simply provide a database for your applications and your users to gain access to. The other option is the storage account. And the storage account, in essence, has multiple components, but it removes any kind of relational database. We don't always need relational database storage. So what you have with the storage account are three components: tables, blobs, which is binary large object, and queues. And each one is dependent on what type of storage you require, and we'll have a look at all of them. So for starters, the SQL Database solution, this is, as the name implies, again, just an actual server somewhere that provides you with access to a SQL database. But what we're concerned with in this case, coming back to the execution models, is wanting to not worry about the server itself. This would be if we were to implement a virtual machine running SQL Server, then that is certainly going to supply us with database services, but I don't want to be concerned with managing the server. So what SQL Database does is to remove the server component. We're only concerned with the database itself. So with that, I get the high availability that's built into all Azure databases. There's 3 copies that are always supplied for you automatically. There's no licensing required. If I were to install a virtual machine, I would have to add the software on top of it. And along with that, there's lower maintenance. So it's a very managed environment inherently. Again, all I'm concerned with is just creating the database. And this is exactly what you can do with the SQL Database solution in Windows Azure. Let's not bother with having to support the server itself. Now, as mentioned, not every type of storage solution needs a relational database. So a storage account basically just gives you options as to how to store data that maybe is not in a relational format. So what we have, again, are the 3 choices of tables, binary large objects, and queues. Tables, designed primarily for large amount of unstructured or non-relational data. And that really can be anything. They're based on just a key value scenario wherein you provide some kind of a field and then the data is inserted into that field and retrieved as necessary based on the requirements of the application. So there doesn't have to be any kind of relationship between table 1 and table 2 and table 3. It's just unrelated, unstructured data. Binary large objects, commonly you'll find video or maybe image libraries are stored in blobs. Maybe you have a number of backups that you want to store in that format as well. Again, nothing that's related to anything else. It's just something that any given application might need to access for whatever purpose. And queues, this is always a store location for messages between applications. Whenever any one application wants to call any kind of process from another, then queues are where those messages are stored until they're processed. So this again removes the database component and is just concerned with storing whatever type of data you need to be able to gain access by whichever method. So whichever approach you feel is going to suit your needs the best, by all means, just go with that option. But in any of those cases, what again is removed for you are the requirements to support and maintain the servers themselves. We can just implement the database. We can just implement the storage that's appropriate for our environment.